Hello, here's a video on how to use your metronome tuner combo at home on the metronome function to keep a steady beat while you're practicing. Okay, I have made another video about how to use your tuner. Today we're going to talk about how to use the metronome part of the device. All the metronome features are over here, all the tuner features are over here. Okay, there's a separate on switch for the metronome, and it's actually possible to use the tuner and metronome at the same time. We're not going to worry about that today. Today we're going to focus on just the metronome features. Okay? A metronome essentially has one important job, and that is to keep a steady beat while we play. Okay? You can see that this metronome has both a visual tempo cue and an auditory tempo cue, meaning the sound. Okay? Sometimes it can be useful to turn the sound off and practice only using the visual cue for the tempo. But most of the time, we're going to practice with the metronome on, and we're going to want the sound on when we are doing any recording assignments so that Mr. O'Donohue can be sure that you are playing with a steady tempo when you're practicing. Okay, so I used the start and stop button to actually start and stop the metronome timing. Okay, when I push start or stop, the tempo actually starts or stops. So if, for example, if you wanted to practice with it on silent, you wanted the tempo to keep going but you didn't want to hear it, you would use the volume control knob up here. You can turn it all the way down. You can turn it up to make it louder. Okay? But it's important to note that start stop doesn't just deactivate the sound. It's not like a mute button. It actually stops the tempo from continuing. Alright. So there are two major settings that you're going to use. One is the tempo setting. Okay? This by default moves the tempo in 4 beat per minute increments. Okay? So a tempo of 100 means that we're counting at 100 beats per minute, 100 beats for every 60 seconds. Okay, a faster tempo, right? So here's 120, 120 beats per minute means 2 beats per second, and that's how we do the math to figure out how fast we're going. Okay, if you need to get a more precise tempo, like let's say you really want to go 114, you can hold down the tempo up and tempo down buttons at the same time. And then, let's see, I didn't quite get it. There we go. And now it will move in 1 number increments. And then to turn it back to moving it 4 at a time, you hold them both down again. And now it's moving in 4 beat increments. Okay. The other main adjustable feature on here is the beat. Okay. So right now we have a number 9, which means that we're playing in a time signature where there are 9 beats in a measure. Not too practical. The setting I use most commonly is just a 0, which means that all the beats are going to have the same volume. Okay, if I change it to a 1, every beat is going to be accented. Okay, a 2 would be representative of a time signature in 2. Every other beat is accented. Okay, and that's useful if you're practicing in 2 and you need the metronome to help you keep track of where the accented beat is. 4, you'll hear the accent every 4 beats. Heavy, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay. It also has a variety of subdivided tempos on it, so you can see different rhythmic values appearing as I'm cycling through the different features. Okay. One tempo setting that's very common and useful is the 8th note. Okay. This shows us where the downbeat and the upbeat are in our time, and it tells us how to tap our toe in 2 parts, just like in rhythm B. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and so on. Okay. It also has triplets if you're working on that rhythm. Now we're dividing the beat into 3 parts. Okay. Some other various rhythms that can be useful. Here's 16th notes. Okay. And which setting you have it on is going to depend on the application. But the 2 most practical settings are the 0, which just makes every beat equal, and the 8th notes, which help us keep track of both our upbeats and our downbeats. One final feature is that this light up piece is also a tempo tapping pad, which means that if I know how fast I want to go, how fast the sound is, but I don't know what the number is for that, I can tap it at the tempo I want to go, and the metronome will automatically predict what that tempo is. So let's say I know that I want to go this speed. Right? I know my speed. The tempo was able to set up based on my speed of tapping, that's 45, and now when I start the metronome, it's going to keep tapping at that same speed. Hope this has been very helpful for you. Make sure you always practice with a metronome at home, always, 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 as we continue to develop a strong sense of pulse and tempo. Thank you very much.